Hi, I'm Vanessa Bell Calloway, and you are listening to You Might Know Her From with Ann and Damien.
Okay, Damien, earlier this year, I went to Philadelphia, your home city adjacent, and went to go see Unrivaled, which is this new basketball league formed by two WNBA players. And they were doing like a pit stop in Philadelphia as their like one-off tour. They're usually in Miami for the entire like 2.5-month season. So I went, and it was just so exciting because it was like so many lesbians descended on Philadelphia. And so I took the Amtrak from New York and I went to Moynihan Station, and it was like, I knew the train hadn't gotten announced. And then it was like, I was early, but then the train like disappeared from the screens. And
you
people
knew
were like, did it leave?
Based on where the lesbians were.
100%. It was like the lesbians were lesbianing. There were a lot of masks.
Track
and I mean
7 or 8.
MASKS. I mean, there were a lot of masks, MASCS, in mask, MASKS. And I knew exactly where to land based on the demographic of the people in the line. And it was just, it's like such a thrill to go. I feel like I've been saying this forever, but like the WNBA, women's basketball, women's sports, if you are a queer person that likes to date other like queer people, I think that women's sports is like a great place. It's like a great, if you're out looking for other queers, like it's a great dating ground. So that was a thrill. And I think being in Philadelphia, being on the train with all these queer, lesbians, dykes, trans and queer people, like was just really thrilling. And then seeing them out and about and like a large swath of people. And the celebrities that were there, Dawn Staley, Robin Roberts, Wanda Sykes, and Leslie Jones. It was like a star-studded affair. It was a real thrill.
Who's Leslie Jones?
Leslie Jones from SNL. She's like a big WNBA
But she's not a
fan.
lesbian.
No. She's not a lesbian, but she was in with all the lesbians.
I see.
To my knowledge, she's incredibly straight. And so Hannah and I were talking to each other like, wow, how is Leslie Jones so straight? But she really appears to really like men, and that is good for her. But she has really been showing up for the LA Sparks, and I think she has season tickets. Anyway, really, as I was thinking about this and how great it is to like be in a space that feels sort of like an affinity space, what do you think are like spaces for gay men that are not like typical cruising spaces or like a bar or like, do you know what I mean? I feel like, is it like a pop concert? Or I feel like that's too easy, but I feel like, I guess WNBA game makes sense that there's like such a confluence of like queer women and non-binary people, but it's like,
I think it would be like a pop concert or it's like a gay beach, but these feel less fun than the theater, you know?
Yeah, literally.
It's like being on Grindr in the bathroom of a theater and being like, oh my gosh, there's so many people here, you know?
Yeah.
Or in the theater district in general, you know?
Totally. It's like when you go to women's basketball games, like there's no line for the men's bathroom and you're like, oh my God, I have to wait for like 3 hours to go to the bathroom. This is so annoying. And like, why don't they have gender neutral restrooms at the fucking stadiums? It's upsetting.
One time I was seeing Cher in Philadelphia and my mom and I went together. I took her, I think, for Christmas or her birthday or something. And I was using their bathroom and like there were women in the men's line and some woman was like being flippant of like, there aren't a lot of men here. And I was like, well, she's a gay icon. So like, I don't care that you're in the men's room, but let's not be like homophobic about how you like deserve to get in the line for the men's room because there aren't a lot of men at a Cher concert. It's like, I don't know that that's specific to not being in New York, but sometimes I'm just like so shocked that people like think and talk like that. And
also, I would assume there would be a lot of men at a Cher concert. Like what is happening in Philadelphia that there's not a lot of men there?
There were men there. It was like a lot of gay men, I feel like. I was like, shut up.
She sucks.
But I hated her. Oh my God. Hello. And welcome. You know, it's always good when we don't introduce the show until we're like, I don't know, 5 minutes in. Hello and welcome to another episode of You Might Know Her From.
With Ann and Damien. I'm Ann.
I'm Damien.
We're here back as we are every week, shooting the shit, talking about pop culture comings and goings, what we're watching, what we're reading, what we're consuming, and talking about, as always, the tough body aches of middle age as we enter into it and what comes with that. But of course, we sandwich that talk with an actress interview every single episode. That's what we're here to do. We're here to talk character actresses every single week. So welcome back. If you're new to the show, thanks for joining. And if you're old, welcome back. We love you and we want to hear about your aging body.
That's right. And this is a new season and we're doing weekly again, which is like such a thrill for us. And we hope it's a thrill for you too. We're keeping our intro and outros short and sweet, babe, because if you want to hear more of what we're, you know, putting out, or if you want to hear more like, I don't know, the movie that just came out, you want to hear about the Oscars, or you want to hear about, I don't know.
Liza Minnelli's book.
Exactly. If you want to hear, these are the current events for us. These are the things that matter of recent year. But like, if you care about that stuff, then like you can hop over to the Patreon and support us there. I don't want it to be an annoying ad. I just want you to know that like this is all an intentional, independent project that we care a lot about. And that's where you can go. And if you're already a Patreon supporter, thank you, because you are the reason that we're able to come back and do this the way we are. So thank you for the support. If you want to support us, you can go to Patreon, .com/you might know her from. You can find it in the show notes. Just while we're on the topic of the NBA though, did you see that video that was going viral that was like, I don't know. We might have to edit this out because I don't know like enough about what was happening and you were away, so I didn't want to bother you. But there was like a video going viral on Twitter of like a person dancing, sort of like masculine dancing.
Oh yeah, she was part of the dance contest at Unrivaled. Yeah.
Okay,
there were 3 people, and she was the one that was like dancing quote unquote most Philly, and she won. Everybody won Sephora things anyway, but there were 3 people that they like pulled from the audience. You know, they do like little things on commercial breaks.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like they do little bits.
It made me think. Someone was saying the way the comments I was reading it was making me think that it was like an off-season WNBA player dancing for like money. And I was like, and then people were like, they should pay athletes a more livable wage. And then people were like, they're getting to be athletes. And I was like, this is like an interesting conversation. I feel like one that we have sometimes like even on, I don't know, didn't we just talk to someone recently and they were like talking about like athletes getting, I don't know, we maybe edited it out, but they were talking about like athletes getting paid. And it's like, we both wanted to chime in. You're going to make me edit all it was like talking and I wanted to chime in and be like, but also like women's athletes are paid so much less,
right?
Because I kind of laughed.
I was about to, and then I looked at how long the timing recording was, and I said, I'm not going to chime in with this. But yes, we leave this and
we'll beep those names just to keep, you guys know we love a blind item. Anyway, what we love is this week's interview. I'm going to say it is. Sometimes, I mean, always, the joy of the project is discovering work that we're not familiar with from an actor or performer. I grew up being obsessed with What's Love Got to Do with It. It is a formative film for me as a young person. It was also a movie for me. It's like how I learned who Tina Turner was. Like I knew who she was as like, like that big blonde wig and like in the alley singing What's Love Got to Do with It music video, but I didn't know her career prior. Like I didn't know her like rock career. I didn't know about Proud Mary. That's how I learned about all of it. And this week's guest, Vanessa Bell Calloway, is just absolutely stunning in that film and is one of these actors that I feel like we got the privilege to interview and chat with. And we both were like, she's good in everything. She is a professional. And that is, I mean, it's just, she's a real remarkable talent. And I'm so grateful we got to chat with her. I think you're really going to love it.
You might know her from Shameless,
One of Them Days,
Coming to America and its sequel,
Harriet,
Bebe's Kids,
Saints and Sinners,
Daylight,
the original cast of Dreamgirls on Broadway,
and What's Love Got to Do with It. This is a really exciting day for Damien and I because we are here with actress, dancer, director, Vanessa Bell Calloway. Vanessa, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're good. We're very excited. I feel like we're going to try and tame the energy down because we've got a lot here. So to get our listeners acquainted, you've appeared in some of the most popular and beloved films over the last 40 years, including Coming to America and its sequel, What's Love Got to Do with It, One of Them Days, Polly, Harriet, Love Don't Cost a Thing, Biker Boys, Crimson Tide, The Brothers, Bebe's Kids, The Inkwell, Southside with You, and Daylight. We're going to get into everything, we promise, but what would you say, just to start us off, is the role that most gets you recognized walking down the street?
There's a couple, actually. I think the obvious is Coming to America, but then the other most favorite of people is What's Love Got to Do with It? They just love me. They just love Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie is a force. I can imagine that it probably is a pleasant thing to get recognized in that way for your work. Has it ever been too much, a little aggressive, strange?
I mean, you always get that person or two who feels like they should be your best friend instantaneously and you owe them something because they're a fan. And fine. I mean, I speak to everybody. I'm that person at the grocery store to talk to the people in front of me and behind me, Yeah. But there's always that one person that kind of can take it too far, and that's very far and few in between the times. But I would say overall, no, it doesn't get funny or strange or uncomfortable. It's always reassuring, and it's just nice. People are kind, and they have a nice way of letting you know that they really appreciate the work that you put out over the years, and that they follow you, and they come up and they quote your lines, and it's like, honey, I don't remember what I said, but thank you. So it's most time it's a very pleasant exchange.
Yeah. Okay, good.
In recent years, we've got to see you play sort of like a matriarch role in like a number of types of projects. You know, like you're Vince's mom in the Vince Staples show, which is so, so funny. You're Veronica's mom on Shameless, which is wild, and we're going to get there. Omar Epps' mom in the 2022 crime thriller The Devil You Know. You're, of course, Michelle Obama's mom in Southside with You, which is such a sweet movie. You're Harriet Tubman's mom in Harriet. One of our favorites is your performance as like the de facto mom of like Mama Ruth of the apartment complex in the 2025 buddy comedy One of Them Days with Keke Palmer and SZA. What was the vibe on that set? Like, they're working on a sequel. Can you tease us anything here?
Well, I know nothing about the sequel, so
you gotta have to be a part of it. It's like you're in that.
I mean, I've been told, but you know, they're still doing it right, so we'll see. But I mean, I don't see why I shouldn't be, quite honest. So fingers crossed. But the vibe on the set was fun. I love working with young people, you know, because it's just such a nice energy. And these kids today, they know what they want, and they know how to get what they want. And they have their boundaries, but they work collaboratively with everybody, you know. And I just have so much respect for Keke because she's quite a force. She knows what she wants. She knows how to get it. And she's very nice to work with, but I really respect her. And she's a hard worker. She really works hard. So it was a very nice set. You know, it was very fun. And I hope that I'm invited to do it again.
You have to be.
So we were excited to learn that you got your start as a dancer in New York and even trained with Alvin Ailey. You also appeared in a number of theatrical productions, including the original Broadway cast of Dreamgirls. For you, was it difficult to do that transition from being a professional dancer to being an actor who danced? What did that look like?
No, because, you know, dancing is just acting in silence. That's all. You know, dancing is just telling the story without saying the words, which is harder. So it was very easy for me to go from dancing to actually getting a chance to talk and give you expositions and all that, you know, explanations and, you know, closing arguments, you know, whereas if I'm dancing, I have to do that with my body and my soul and my spirit. You have to feel me. So it made sense. And I always acted too. There was a time where I did a lot of work dancing with companies, but in my youth, you know, I did plays and musicals in high school and college and, you know, and some off-Broadway stuff in New York. So it's always been kind of hand in hand with me.
Back when I feel like it's so different now with the world of self-tape and like we're all on Zoom right now. But like back when there were audition rooms, like who else was in the room with you when you were cutting your teeth in the industry?
Wow, that's an interesting question. A lot of people that were in the room with me didn't stay. You know, one thing about when you're young in this industry, and I always tell young people this, look around because a lot of those people you won't see in the 10 years. Because what happens is some people rise to the top and survive, and some just go like, throw their hands up, understandably so, because it's like, I got to eat. And this ain't providing no, you know, living accommodations. But in the room with me, Anne-Marie Johnson, she was in the room with me a lot. I think a lot of people that you probably wouldn't know, but nobody's super famous now. Really, my group thinned out very quickly. And then what happens? You're not in the room so much. You just go into the room by yourself. You have producers call. You know, after a while, you start proving yourself. You just have meetings with people. So you don't really even see a lot of other people. If you don't get the part, you'll see who got the part because you see them on TV and something that you audition.
Right.
If you get the part, you got the part, and you don't know who else was up for the part anyway. So it kind of levels itself out.
Yeah. Okay, so we mentioned Jackie. I have long been obsessed with the 1993 film What's Love Got to Do with It, not only for Angela Bassett's like tour de force performance, but also because it's the way that I learned of these amazing character actresses, Candy Alexander, Jennifer Lewis, and you, of course, as Tina's friend, and Ikette, Jackie. You're so, so good in this movie. I rewatched the whole thing from beginning to end last night, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much I love this movie. You dance, you seemingly sing.
I seemingly sing. I always sang well enough, but continue.
Well, I didn't know if you were really singing in those moments, or if it's all like if it's like Ikette's like studio singers that you guys are lip syncing to. That's why I said seemingly. Like, did you record singing for that?
Sang. Yeah, I think we sang. And you got to sing along as it's going.
I thought so. I was like, okay, she's singing, she's dancing. You have good comedic bits, but then of course you have your big dramatic blow up with Ike, where you get slapped in the diner right after the eat the cake anime moment. You've said that Lawrence Fishburne accidentally like smacked you in the take that ended up in the final film. How many takes did it take for you to get that like? I don't know.
I think, you know what, I can't remember exactly, but we didn't do no more than 3. What was happening is they wanted the stunt double to do it, right?
Okay.
So they put her in, and I'm trying to be, you know, cooperative. So I let her go in, and then they want to hit her. They want her to roll, but then they want a shot of me getting them off the floor and cussing them out. Well, finally, I said, you know what? I told the director, I said, listen, because I had done stuff in soap operas. And I was like, I can do this. This can let me, because it's going to be a better payoff for me with the adrenaline if I, and I can roll, and I'm a dancer, so I was, agile.
Your role is so good. You have like traction.
Yeah, I mean, I can roll and get up because, like I said, I'm agile. Wow. So they said, okay, and that's what happened. So I stepped in for the stunt lady, and we practiced I swing, and you, that's what you do. You practice that. But you got to have eye contact when you do that. And that one of those takes, and then we may have done like a couple of takes before that. And also that kind of movie, we didn't have a lot of time. I've never had the luxury of being in one of those movies, Steven Spielberg, where you shoot one scene for a week. I don't know what that's like. Hopefully one day I will. But even as a director, I don't know what it's like to have time to do stuff. So that movie, we didn't have time to like linger in a scene forever. So we did a couple of passes, and whatever pass that was, maybe the third or fourth one, no more than that, I'm sure, is when he accidentally hit me, and I got up, and we had it. We moved on from there because they had it.
It's so great. It's been said that Jackie is a composite of a few women from Tina's life. Did you know like which women those were? Did you speak to any of them, or did you just kind of build Jackie from what was on the page?
I think I looked at the book, and then they just told me. And in a case like that, because they're mixing so many people together, you get to do you. I get to make it alive. It didn't have to be like, to the point of who these people were, because who knew? I didn't know. I didn't know them, and they weren't really written about. They're not really famous, and they said that they combined two people. So what you look for the empathy in each person. You look for the relationship that she had with each person, and then it was up to me to create these characters. So that's what I did.
You're so wonderful in the film. It holds up. It's so wonderful.
You reunited with Lawrence Fishburne in Biker Boys. Did you guys talk about that scene at all? Like, did that come up?
I don't think it did. We just worked.
Yeah.
We just worked. Lawrence is a gentleman and a scholar. So when I looked up and everything was coming out, I said, oh my God. Well, he didn't call me, so he didn't take it wrong. But I said, well, I'm just telling the truth. But I just always wanted to make sure people understood it was an accident.
Yeah, of course, of course.
By no means would he ever do that on purpose. He is a gentleman and a scholar, yes.
Love that. So you actually appear in the 1984 music video for Tina Turner's What's Love Got to Do With It? I sure
did. A lot of people don't make that correlation.
It's insane. How trippy is that?
That has always been too insane to me. A choreographer by the name of Victor Love was a friend of mine at the time. And I never forget, it was like a weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday. And he just called me and said, hey, what you doing? You want to come do this? I'm going to do this Tina Turner video. She's in town. Because she probably was in town like briefly. And this was like, okay, the window, shoot it now because I got to go type of thing. So he called. I said, yeah, I'll come. And I went. And, it was What Love Got to Do With This song. It just was released. And you can see me in the video. I'm going around and
in your spandex, pointing at her.
And my little cute, I was like this. There was no back fat. I was like, oh my God.
Your back looks incredible. It really does.
My body, I was like this. Oh my God, there's no back fat. Can I have that body back? So, and then literally 10 years later, I do the movie.
Just while we're on it, did you get what was that day on set? Was it just a quick shoot? Did you get any moments with Tina? Was she sort of siloed?
She said hi to everybody, as I recall, and that's why I was like grinning like, hey, girl, when I went around, I was with Tina Turner for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That was it. The moment that little interaction I had with her, that was like it,
But guess it was captured on film, so that's all that matters.
Yes.
So you mentioned this earlier.
I was really upset because when she came to the movie set, I didn't work that day.
Oh.
God.
And I didn't get a chance to let her, to talk to her, let her know, hey.
Yeah, that's it's a cool full circle moment for you as an artist.
Yeah.
Maybe she knew.
Probably. Okay. Why would she remember me from the What's Love Got to Do With This video? Let's be real. Oh, yeah. You're the girl with that cute little outfit that did like that to me.
You're the one with the hot back. She knew. She clocked it. Okay, so you mentioned this, Vanessa, but you got your start on soaps with All My Children and later on Days of Our Lives.
Yes.
You said that experience, which many actors say is like you got to learn dialogue really quickly. It really honed your craft. It's kind of a cool full circle moment because you then headlined 2 primetime soaps later in life with the Blackhamptons and Saints and Sinners. Did that feel like some sort of moment for you in your career where you were able to put that together?
Nothing you do is ever wasted. I tell my kids that all the time.
Yeah.
No experience is ever wasted. Even if you don't use it right away, you'll be able to reach back and get it because it's something you learned. It's something that now is embedded in you and it becomes part of your artillery. You know, it's like your box, your toolbox. You know, you open it up and it's like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. So the soap operas were some of the best training I've ever had. And I tell people that. A lot of people used to back in the day want to turn their nose down on soap operas because they wanted to be, you know, movie actors or TV actors. And back then there used to be a difference. Either you were a soap opera actress, you were a TV actress, or you were a movie actress. Then everybody just started doing everything because they wanted to eat. And then interesting. You know?
Yeah.
They realized they had
They want their health insurance.
Right. They wanted health insurance and they realized they had bills. And as long as it was paying, they could help you with your bills. Yeah. So I just was like, I was never like that. I didn't have a problem doing soap operas because to me, it was like one of the best acting classes you can get. And you got paid for it. Because I would have to learn a script in a day sometimes. When you talk about it helping your memory, oh my God. I used to be so good, and I was telling somebody this recently, and learning stuff so quickly that I would read the page in my mind. I would kind of like read my lines because I would see them in print in my mind.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot of tricks how to memorize lines really quickly. I mean, I've been on set where people have given me like, okay, we change the scenes, and they will give me a monologue, and we're shooting the scene. And the writers, because you know, a lot of times when you do some things, it's evolving all the time. It's not just okay, here, shoot the scene. Sometimes it's like that, but sometimes they come in like, hey, say this instead of that. Do this instead of that. And I've literally gotten like pages like, okay, we're going to do this now instead of what you learned already. The stuff you had learned staying up all night learning. Now they're like, no, we're not going to do it. Now do this. And you got to learn it. Right. You got to learn it and you got to make it real. And you got like about an hour while they setting up the lights and stuff to learn it because now you're going to go on and do it. So soap operas taught me all that. So I mean, when I get faced with stuff like that, I'm like, okay, not a problem. Give it to me.
Such a pro move, right? And I mean, I'm sure that some actors can crumble under that pressure. It seems really stressful.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but once again, if you got to have the right, you got to have training. And that's why I tell all these young kids, it's more than just like, oh, I think I'm going to be an actress. I'm a content creator and I want to become famous now. I'm doing movies. It's a little bit more to that. And I'm not saying that you can't be done. And I'm not saying they don't have the talent because nobody's born an actor. Nobody's born. Now you're born a singer because either you got the singing ability or you don't. Yeah. You're born a dancer sometimes. Sometimes dancing isn't something you can learn well. Sometimes it's just you have to have the aptitude for it, But nobody's born an actress, I mean, you might have some talent. Some people may have more talent than others, but anybody can get in class and try to hone that craft. But you got to do that. You just don't wake up and say, oh, I think I'm going to be famous and I'm going to be an actress. It's not quite that easy as it looks. And that's why we're good, because we make it look easy.
You're very good, and I feel like you're always... And I mean, we do blow smoke up our guests' butts, but also like I'm being genuine when I say you're incredible. And I feel like in every scene you show up, you're always, people want you because you're good and you make work better. What do you do when you're faced with like an influencer who thinks they're an actor or somebody who doesn't have that same skill set as you? How are you still good? Because you're good in everything that you're in.
Well, always kindness. You don't want to make a person feel bad. I mean, I've had situations where I was directing and they give me housewives when I'm in Atlanta. That's always been interesting, because they don't get it. They're late. I've been having situations where some of these, people that are singers or are housewife people in Atlanta, they have a different set of rules. I guess they show up when they show up. And I've had to write somebody out of a scene one time because she was very late. And it's like, honey, I got an hour to shoot the scene. Yeah. Because if you're shooting like that, it's like boom, boom, boom. And I'm in the show and I'm shooting. And I'm different episodes, because we're doing that block shooting. Miss Thing, I ain't got time to wait for you to show up. I said, write her out. Let's keep going. She doesn't take them lines out. She don't have to be here. We can make it work without her. Yeah. So I've had that happen. And I've had show up that don't know their lines. And I just got the script. I didn't get it yesterday. Okay, then you should have stayed up all night till you knew it. That's the school I come from. And I tell everybody, know your lines, be on time, no exception, no excuses. Yeah. And that's the same for me too. When I'm an actor, director, it's same for me. Know your lines, be on time, no exceptions and no excuses. So that's how I've had to deal with like the influencer or the person who's not really a trained actor. They just have to learn the hard way sometimes. And this one particular young lady I'm talking about got written out of Saints and Sinners. And then she learned her way, and they had her back several years later. But right, I think the season that we ended, she was very grateful. She had a whole different approach because she got it. She understood, like, oh, okay. And I said, you're lucky they had you back. She said, yeah, I know I am.
I love
a
you.
hard lesson learned. Yeah.
You keep it real, and you're always so good. You're a good number
If I'm
one.
going to bring my best, I expect you to do the same.
Absolutely, of
100%.
course.
I
Of
don't
course.
ask, even as a director, I don't ask anybody to do anything I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
Totally.
And you should want to bring your best. Because what people don't understand is when you're shooting fast, dirty, and hard, like, I mean, everything I've done has been fast, dirty, and hard. I've never had the luxury of shooting. Even a lot of these other shows you think got a lot of time and money, they don't. Like, we shot Shameless like this.
Well, right. I was gonna say, like, nobody
You know
has
what I
any money anymore. Like,
Shot
nobody
Shameless
has.
like this. And when you're directing, you know, I got an hour and a half to get all this, and you got different angles you got to get. Let's go. We got to land the plane. So if I'm doing the work, I expect you to do it too. And that's
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a great segue because you popped up for several seasons over the course of 11 seasons off Shameless as Shanola Hampton's character, Veronica's mother, Carol, who eventually conceives a child with her daughter's partner, Kev, played by Steve Howey. The storyline is so surprising, and you get to...
Shameless, yes.
Yeah, you get to have a lot of fun with it, but the scene where you have sex like wrapped in a sheet is so wild. Like, what did you think when you saw like that's where the surrogacy storyline was going?
It's so much fun. When I read, I never forget I was on a plane reading it. Yeah. And I showed my husband the scene, you know. And when I show my husband the scene, and if he laughs and he's good with it, I always say, Tony Calloway ain't got a problem with it. Ain't nobody got a problem with it. Because there's one scene that you mentioned where Shanola and I are on top of him, trying to, because she's...
Yeah.
You know, there's that other scene too. So when I show my husband something and he laughs and he don't have a problem with it, I'm like, if Tony Calloway ain't got a problem with it, nobody got a problem with it.
Okay, I love it.
Anthony Hemingway was the director on those, and I just adore him. And he made everything safe and sound. And it was just, we had fun. It was just funny.
Was this the era of like intimacy coordinators? Like, was there an intimacy coordinator on set with you?
No, we didn't have that yet. No.
I love it. You're like drunk. You have a sheet over your face. You're like cracking jokes. You're really
they
funny.
Ask you how you want to do it, how far you willing to go. And I'm like, let Shanola show her breast. Don't nobody want to see mine. I promise you. It's okay. let my admirers, you know, still have affinity for me. Because if I show them, they might not love me no more. So let's keep the fantasies alive. So once we did the boundaries, I said, I have no problem wearing, a Teddy, very little none. Because I think I'm cute. And B, I tell people, you wear less than that on the beach. Really? This thing, you look naked on the beach. You know how many people see you on the beach and you got to think about wearing a bra and panties on TV or in a movie? Come on, you know. And if you got a cute body, hey, show it. So once we figured that out, we just had fun. It was just funny. It was just funny to me. We were cracking up. I remember that. Because it was just so crazy and so ludicrous and just so out of park that it was just funny.
Carol ends up getting this really great arc that I think, like, who would have thought that that's where it was going for you for the whole series? Yeah. But it was really fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed my 9 seasons out of their 11. It was fun.
Okay, Vanessa, you've appeared in August Wilson Plays, like The Piano Lesson and 7 Guitars. You've toured with your one-woman show about Zora Neale Hurston, Letters from Zora in Her Own Words. And of course, you started your career, as we mentioned, as a professional dancer. All of this to say, you were one of the stepsisters in the original 1981 Broadway production of Dreamgirls.
My name's on the album.
Can you describe like how that job came to you then and like what it was like working with Michael Bennett, the famed choreographer and director?
When you're not trying hard for something, that's when you get something. I was doing a show called El Bravo at the Intermediate Theater down in New York off Broadway. And I was like a very featured actress in that. I was like there was a lot of big featured parts. And I was, matter of fact, I love to rub this in Jennifer Lewis's face. She was my understudy on that show.
Oh my God, amazing.
I love to rub that in her face. But anyway, so I was doing that show, and Vinny Lift, who was the casting director for Dreamgirls, came and saw me, and we were closing that night. It was a Sunday, we were closing. And he said, hey, would you like to come and audition for Dreamgirls tomorrow? It's the last day for callbacks. And he said, I can't offer you any, part for the lead. They're all taken because they've been in workshop for this. But would you like to come and audition for the ensemble? And honey, I figured like my job was ending that day. I said, of course I'll be there tomorrow, right? I had just gone from doing a really good featured role, but hey, I didn't even know what Dreamgirls was about. Everybody in town had been up for those auditions except me. I didn't even go in, right? So I go in, and this is the funny part. I think I'm just gonna like go there and just breeze through there real quick, you know, and just come home, be a couple hours. And I'll never forget, on the way I got a coffee. That's when I was drinking coffee, and like a croissant or something. Go to the little audition, and there's all these people there, and they keep me, and they keep me, and they keep me, and they keep me. Now this coffee is turning to acid on my stomach because Michael Peters has me dancing like a fool. And I used to dance my butt off when I was, you know, that concert dancing and Broadway and all that. I danced, right? My body is just about to shake now because I have like danced so much. And I'm going to go like, forget it, I don't want this job. It's like I'm ready to call uncle because I'm so tired. But then they kept me and I got the job. And that's how I got Dreamgirls. And what I didn't realize is that was some people's third callback. But that was my first audition.
Hell yeah.
I just want to reference El Bravo because you mentioned it. And I just want to say that like this musical was choreographed and directed by Pat Birch, and the New York Times eviscerated it. Everybody got a horrible review except for you. They called it hideous, vulgar, and then they said, should we apologize to the cast? Probably. But then they said, quote, among the prostitutes, there's an uncommonly promising singer-dancer named Vanessa Bell. You're literally the only person that gets a good review in the entire review. What was that like?
I remember that review. You need to send that to me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they saw that I was promising. I guess Michael Bennett and Michael Peters did too, because I got the job the next day.
Yeah.
But that was a fun show, you know, and everything's not super good. Hey, my first Broadway show, though, you want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
My first Broadway show was called Bring Back Birdie with Donald O'Connor and Cheetah Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sequel to Bye Bye Birdie for our listeners.
Bye Bye Birdie. But we opened previews, not even open, on a Thursday and closed that Saturday. We were booed at the end of the first act. Like when you see on TV, people with their hands up to their mouth. Whoa!
Wow. I mean, it's kind of iconic, honestly. It's a famous Broadway flop. It's kind of in its own...
I was like, and you know, everybody goes, boom, you know, the end of the first act. Everybody's in there, boom. And then the audience goes, whoa! And you like this, are they booing us? I believe we're being booed. And that was hysterical to me. But I didn't even care about that when it closed. I remember all the little kids, because I was playing a teenager. I was really like 20. That was my first one. That's before El Bravo. That was before Dreamgirls. So I was like, what, 24 or something like that, wherever what I was. But I didn't even care that it was closing, because some of the kids that were really teenagers in the show, they were crying. I was like, honey, I had made enough money going rehearsals and that first little weekend of previews to get myself a winter coat and some warm boots. So I had a little rent money. So I had accomplished my goals. You know, I was like, the show really ain't that good no way. So onward and upward.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about survival, right? It's like about being a working actor.
I wasn't thinking that was going to make me rich and famous. I just needed a warm coat and some boots. And I got that. And I had some little money in the bank. So I was like, so be it. Let's move on to the next. And then I was blessed. I mean, literally the day after, then I kept getting other jobs. But literally the day after we closed in El Bravo, I got Dreamgirls.
Can you describe what that rehearsal process was like, and then going into the sort of like what was a supernova of a show?
Well, let me tell you. So this is how a lot of things work, just like in film. You don't work together all the time. Mm-hmm. So, and they used to put me, and there was two other young ladies, they would put all the Dreams choreography on us. So we would learn, Michael Peters would teach us all the choreography, all the stuff. And then he'd bring us in to show, Loretta and Cheryl and Debbie, and they would see the stuff, and then they learned from what we did. And he was just we were like his lab rats. He would figure out what they were going to do on us. So that was one of my jobs. And then we had all the ensemble stuff. That was one of my jobs. But everybody works like, you're over here, you're over there, you're over here. But then one day was finally like, okay, it's time to do the first act together, the first act. So everybody had been working on their stuff separately, rehearsing. But now we're going to bring everybody together in one of the big rehearsal rooms, and we're going to run through the first act. When I tell you, I will never forget this as long as I live. It's just like something that's indelibly in my mind forever, and I can still see it. When Jennifer Holliday, when we got to the end, and the first time as a company we heard her sing, and I'm telling you, it was like people were crying. I mean, you had chills. It was like, and that's when I said, oh my God, I'm in a hit. I had no clue what Dreamgirls was like. I was just taking a job. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
One job was over and I needed another job, you know, to keep going.
Totally.
And I wasn't like, I didn't have anything invested in it other than I got a job. But when I heard her sing that song for the first time, I knew it was special. I was like, oh my God. And then when we got to the theater and we saw how the sets moved and all that, I said, this is revolutionary. I knew that that show for that time changed Broadway for that time. And then I think Lion King came in several years later and kind of did another change for, you know, like how Broadway looked and what could be done on stage.
I mean, it's theater history. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So Damien and I were lucky enough to have seen you in the 2024 revival of Purlie Victorious. Of course, this is the Ossie Davis play.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, of course. So we want to talk to you about Idella, who's, you know, sort of like the heart and soul of this community. It was directed by Kenny Leon, and he sort of opened the show, I thought, in an interesting way, where the actors sort of came on stage as themselves and then put on their costumes and sort of came into character to bring the audience in. Can you be honest with us? Like, did you really walk on stage as Vanessa and turn into Idella? Like, what is that mental process like for you? And how was it returning to 8 shows a week?
Well, first of all, let me say something. Let me just say, I want to say a few things about that.
Yeah.
I'll always owe Kenny. I love Kenny Leon, and I owe him to this day because we've been friendly all these years. I did the Kennedy Center, the August Wilson thing with him years ago. But you never know how people are still thinking about you. I literally get a text from him, like this particular March before we did, like, hey, think about, would you like to do this? I'm like, you know, you get a text, you go, and you wipe your eyes like, Kenny Leon, go back on Broadway with him? Are you kidding me? You know?
Yeah.
So they fly me in to do the readings. I just need you to come in and read with Leslie. We got to make sure everything, you know, things cohesive. And Leslie and I, although we had done Harriet together, we really never like did scenes together, you know?
Yeah.
So, but we've seen each other, but we didn't really know each other. So I fly in and, you know, everything goes great. And we start doing the show. But I read the script and I go like, because, you know, it was very dated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is this going to work?
Right. What is the tone?
Everybody would tell you, we all were kind of like, not really sure how this was going to translate. But I was like this. I said, I'm going down with the ship. If the ship go down, I'm going down with it. Because I'm going to do this. I had committed.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. I love Kenny. I'm going back on Broadway. I moved to New York for 6 months, left my family, my husband. This was the year that my daughter got married. So I'm planning, I had to get a wedding primarily together before I moved to New York in August. She got married that November, and from the, you know, New York, I'm still planning my daughter's wedding. Of course, I flew home for the wedding and all that, but I was gone for 6 months without knowing. And I had an apartment that I had committed to till February, because that's in their mind. If everything went well, that's how long the show would go. But if they canceled the show in September, I would have to try to get out of that lease.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I had to like commit. I had to go, you know, the Ocean's 11, you in or you out. I was like, I'm in. So now we're here rehearsing and something magical just started happening. Kenny is so astute and so smart. He really saw how he had to bring this play back to the audience for everybody to get it, love it, and for it to become the hit that it was. Mm-hmm. He got it. And we just had to release and relax and follow and trust him and know that if he got it, just do what he say.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I just relaxed in it. I listened to him. I did what he said. When he gave me a note, I took it. But what I loved about him is like, he didn't give you your blocking. You got up and you did, when you first started rehearsing, like a lot of that stuff I did was me. I told the guy, I said, bring me a picture, bring me a of this, bring me a that on a glass. I'm gonna get him some water at some point, you know. So a lot of that stuff I created naturally. Mm-hmm. Now, if he didn't like what you were doing, he would say something, or he would add on like, okay, you do that, but go ahead and do this too, you know. Mm-hmm. But that's what I loved about working with him. It's like, now I'm not gonna tell you stand, sit, do that. You just go ahead, just do the lines. Let's just go get it on his feet. Let's see what happens. And in doing that, I got a chance to find the character and the rhythm and everything. So when he got to that part about, you know, we talked a lot about the opening, and he just had this vision where he wanted people to come off, and he wanted to see one of you all as audience members to see, this is a play. This is what we're getting ready to do. And then you get lost in the play and you don't see us anymore. And I think he achieved that.
Yeah, and for anyone that missed it, it was recorded for PBS on Great Performances, so you can
Yes,
watch a beautiful
that was
pro shot of it, and it's so good. You were just so
every
good at
honor
it.
that we can get that year, we got. They don't do
Yep,
that. It's
exactly.
library and the legal library. They shot us for that. We did the recording, a radio recording for it. We did PP. We got all of the stuff that and got 6 Tony nominations. So I was like, because of my commitment to be willing to go down with the ship,
Yeah.
100%.
didn't sail, I was actually floating ashore with
Would you do it again? Would you come back to Broadway?
I would love to go back to Broadway. Are you kidding
Okay.
me? It's got to be something that is a little bit, meatier for me.
Mm-hmm.
I would go back to Broadway in a heartbeat. My husband and family understands. And I'm going to have my first grandchild, so.
Oh my God, congrats. Okay.
But I would love to go back to Broadway because I love theater. That's my first love.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the stage, and it's nothing like being on Broadway. Let's just be honest.
Vanessa, we want to bring up 2 projects that we love that were both directed by Debbie Allen, and that's the 1989 musical Polly, starring Felicia Rashad and Keisha Knight Pulliam, and the 1992 TV movie Stompin' at the Savoy about 4 women in 1930s Harlem. These are both frustratingly difficult to find on streaming platforms, but both of these projects are so wonderful and have like an incredible ensemble of Black actresses in each of them. Why are both of these so hard to find, and what can you tell us about these collaborations with Debbie Allen?
Because you got Polly and Polly Coming Home.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Polly Coming Home, I was pregnant with my first daughter. I was pregnant for real.
Yeah.
We did Polly, and then Debbie called me, child, we going to do Polly Coming. We can do Polly Coming Home next year. Because we came out that summer, and then she called me like that February. I'll never forget. And we were going to shoot that summer. And I said, Debbie, I'm pregnant. She said, oh, child, don't worry about it. We just had to get married to what was TK, God rest his soul, TK Carter. We just gonna have y'all get married, girl. So I love Debbie for that. She let me continue the role that I started. And oh my God's timing. We shot in July and my daughter was born in August.
Perfect.
I literally was like 8 months pregnant shooting that. So from what I understand though, is that it's something to do with Disney. And with, I guess, the estate, the Polly estate or whatever.
So annoying.
I knew it was going to be something about like the
It's
Pollyanna estate. Yeah.
Yes.
It's something to do with Disney and that.
It's frustrating because I feel like so many kids grew up on
you
it.
can't find stuff in Savoy. That is a great project. I love that project. You can't find it streaming either?
You can, but unfortunately, I don't think anybody's getting paid for where you can watch it. You know what I mean? It's not on an official platform. So you can find it online, but like nobody's getting a check for it. And I feel like that's...
Yeah, because I ain't got one in years. So.
Yeah. It's such a great project. I mean, also just like recreating 1930s Harlem and all the nightclubs. It's just like really beautiful costumes, such a great cast.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Doing that. Yeah. I enjoyed that very much. Wow. I don't even think come on, you're right. I don't think it's even been on television. It should.
I mean, this is what I'm saying. I feel like we grew up with these being in syndication and I don't remember if I saw it on BET or where it was when I watched it, but like, I wish there was a way for these to be more readily available. I mean, it's literally an all-star cast.
Such a sweet, they're so sweet movies. They're the old-fashioned musical that kids need to watch and not some of the other stuff they're watching. Yeah. Really should have that so that these kids, like on Hulu and stuff, so these kids can enjoy it. I can't tell you how many people your age now, my kids' age, come up to me and say, and you think they're going to say, oh, I love you and this, come to America, or what's love at? They go like, oh my God, I love Polly. And that always warms my heart. So because my youngest daughter, she would come home, because that's when I had it in VHS, because you take you know how that is.
Of course.
She would come home and watch it every day after school. She's like in first grade at the time. And she would come home and watch Polly every day.
I love it.
It's so good. The music is great. Yeah. It's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Hopefully Disney Plus can get their act together.
Yeah, it would be nice. I would love to see that. I would love to see me that young.
You look great. You look great.
And dancing. You saw how I was dancing.
Of course.
And somewhat singing, as you say.
Seemingly singing as an Ikette is all that I meant.
I had a little number or two I was singing with a little something.
Absolutely a singer. I just meant as an Ikette. I wasn't sure.
No, I'm laughing at myself. Let me tell you, I faked it, honey. I did it good enough to get by, but by no means am I Jennifer Hudson Holiday or any of the other Jennifers. I did what I had to do to get the job, and thank God I don't have to sing now.
Vanessa, your performance as Princess Imani in the 1988 comedy classic Coming to America is an iconic piece of pop culture history. Everything from the runway entrance, your dress, the hair, and then of course the barking while hopping on one leg. How painful was that outfit and that shoot, since it featured like so many extras and moving pieces and all of that?
It was a day where you had to suck in, didn't eat. They gave me a leaning board because I couldn't.
So
sit
old
down.
Hollywood of them.
So old Hollywood. I literally had a leaning board, and my feet were hurting. I remember that because it was hard to take my shoes off because there was so much everything else. Trying to balance them, there was two wigs. This was a wig, and then the ponytail was its own wig, but that was heavy. So balancing all that, felt like I needed a neck brace, So it was one of those days where you suffered for beauty, but I didn't care because I was being Princess Imani. But it was a lot.
Did you revisit the original film before you went back to shoot the sequel, where you
Not at all.
You just shot from the hip? You said, I can do it. I can bark again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you had people bark at you on the street? I feel like people
all the time. They stop and they go. All the time they say that, and I just politely say, they paid me to do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Don't ask me to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they paid me to do that.
Okay, Vanessa Bell Calloway, we reached the part of the show we call rapid fire. It's rapid for us so we can get every last credit in. Take whatever time you need. Okay, you appear in one of my all-time favorite action disaster films, the 1996 Sylvester Stallone movie Daylight, where a bunch of people are trapped in the Holland Tunnel. You play a dispatcher whose boyfriend, spoiler alert, dies in the tunnel, and at the end of the movie, Sly delivers you a bracelet from your now dead boyfriend. Be honest, was that really Sylvester Stallone who handed you the bracelet, and did he do his coverage from the stretcher, or was it a stand-in?
No, I think it was him.
It was him. He did it.
Yeah, any scene I had with him, as I recall, he was always there doing it. I don't know, child, that was so long ago, but because that was New York, that was when we were in New York shooting.
Yeah. And he's like on a gurney. It's at the very end.
You know what? Maybe now that you brought it up, maybe he wasn't there that day.
I thought it was maybe ingeniously shot. We see him grabbing your hand, but then you're never in the scene exactly together. So I just wanted to know if he was a good number one.
I don't remember exactly, but you're probably right because. Now that I think about it, I don't know that he was there that day because he had already shot all his stuff, I think. Okay,
Vanessa, you played the godmother of Detroit soul, Johnny Mae Matthews, the first Black woman to own and operate her own record label in the U.S. in the 1998 TV miniseries, The Temptations. It's so good. You looked so good in those costumes with like the pearls and the gloves and the big car. Did you ever get to meet the real Johnny Mae?
Never did, but when I tell you that I love period pieces, I would do a period piece at the drop of a hat just to be in the clothes. So yeah, Johnny Mae was dressed, honey. I loved her stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I heard about I always often heard about that story, and they said that it was true. She really sat up there and was mad because she fired them and took her stuff. And when they became famous, she had nothing to do with it.
Speaking of period pieces, you appear in the 1994 romantic, we'll call it a dramedy, The Inkwell. The whole set of this film looked like a wild party. You get to kickstart the house party on Martha's Vineyard with this like periwinkle blue jumpsuit. Were you the dance captain on that set? And how many people in that party did you have to teach like how to do the hustle?
You know what? We party just constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, off camera. Joe Morton, and Douglas, God rest her soul. Glenn, me. When I tell you, we partied so hard, we had to remind ourselves that we were in North Carolina to actually shoot a movie. And that particular party scene, it was just an extension of what we'd already been doing,
Yeah.
And everybody, when you go to a city like that and you shoot and you have, actors who are known, the townspeople are just so happy to be extras in your scene that they're so nice and they're just so cooperative. Whatever the ADs want them to do, they do. And, I always like to I talk to people, because you always want them to feel included. And also you thank them because without them, you ain't got no scene.
Yeah.
If they all decide to go home, the director's in trouble because you need some people to look like they had the party. So it was a great energy on that set. We had so much fun. That was like one of the most fun I've had shooting a movie. And it was summertime for real. And I was staying on the beach because they were trying to give us this little Howard Johnson's. And my oldest daughter, who's 35 now, was like 2. She was like 2.5. And I was bringing her with me that summer. And I said, I can't stay at that Howard Johnson. I remember it was on a big road and all I could see was my nanny and the baby getting ran over. And because I had just been there the year before shooting Storm at the Savoy and I stayed on Wrightsville Beach, I knew something that they didn't know. I said, I tell you what, give me the money that you're going to give me for that hotel. I'll put the rest of my money with it because I got my child with me and I got the babysitter. I need a place. Honey, I went to Wrightsville Beach, got me a little apartment right on the beach.
Amazing.
Baby, I'm telling you, I was rolling that summer. And they would come over to my house. We were partying, smoking weed, eating and drinking, horseback riding, going to restaurants. We had so much fun. That is we still laugh to this day. And one time we were up there sitting and drinking and everything. And we started talking about the movie. And we realized that everybody was doing a different movie. I thought it was a comedy. Somebody said, I thought it was a drama.
Right.
So we were doing different movies. But the fondest memories of working on a film is Inkwell for me.
Yeah, the chemistry of everybody on that set is so great. And it was fun to see you and Glenn Turman back together.
I love me some Glenn. Wife Joanne, we're all very, very good friends.
I love it.
Very good friends. And Glenn and I have worked together as husband and wife, brother and sister, boyfriend and girlfriend. Matter of fact, he calls me his other wife because we've been together. His wife allows me to call him Papa. I call him Papa.
That's sweet.
And, he just got his star last summer, so we were all happy about that. But
that's great.
Yeah, a lot of good memories.
Okay, Vanessa, you, alongside former guest of this show, Anna Maria Horsford, were series regular on a short-lived 90s sitcom, Rhythm and Blues, about what happens when a black radio station in Detroit hires a DJ named Bobby Soul, who's a white man. Vanessa Bell Calloway, what the fuck is this show?
And what the fuck was it? Okay. And it didn't last. But, okay, quick story about that. So there was somebody else playing Anna's part. And we came back to work the next day, and it was Anna. I always tell people, don't get too comfortable, because you will come back and Mary will be played by Susie Johnson, honey, the very next day.
Yeah.
So don't get too comfortable. But that show, I got What's Love Got to Do with It. We were shooting that show. It was sinking horribly. And that's when they approached me for What's Love Got to Do with It. And we had one show left to shoot. And the writers, producers weren't going to let me out to shoot What's Love Got to Do with It. They were not going to let me write my character out of that one. They were not going to do it. And What's Love couldn't push their stuff back. They needed me like what they needed me. So the casting director, who's a dear friend to this day, Reuben Cannon, went to Peter Roth, who was the head of the studio at the time. And he told Peter the situation. And Peter said, every time I've seen Mr. Roth, I have stopped him and hugged him. Because he is the reason that I got What's Love Got to Do with It. No, seriously. Because Mr. Roth told Reuben Cannon, he said, I am not going to ruin that young lady's career because I'm going to cancel that show.
Hey, I appreciate he was real.
That's
he was
real.
honest.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
Because they were not being nice. They were like, no, she can't get out. No. And my manager, everybody was trying to get me out so I could be in What's Love. And they had to go to the head of the studio and he let me out and he canceled the show.
Well done.
And how horrible would I felt 2 weeks later, show canceled, and I've missed What's Love Got to Do with It too.
Well done.
Well, you got the best of both worlds because you got to be in the iconic film, but also have this fun little Easter egg on your resume.
While it lasted, I even just, everything's a stepping stone and I knew Anna before that. So, but nothing was wasted. It was, good to be with the cast and, made some little change and just kept it moving.
Okay, Vanessa, you appear as Marcy in the 1988 supernatural slasher flick called Death Spa, where you get speared through the throat thanks to a locker room that is apparently possessed by the spirit of a gym owner's dead wife. How long, please God tell us, did you spend in makeup to get that prosthetic neck hole just right?
Well, let me first say that any good actress has a bad movie somewhere in her.
more than one, probably.
Let's
yes.
just say that. So
yes.
Any good, but at the time I was excited. I was prosthetics. I was excited I was going to get killed.
Yeah.
I was in the movie. I didn't know it was going to be a bad movie and it was a low budget movie. I was in the movie. So there you have it. But,
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Vanessa Bell Calloway, last question. I grew up on the stone cold classic that is Bebe's Kids. For anyone that hasn't seen it, this 1992 animated comedy was directed by Bruce W. Smith and featured an all-black main cast that included you, Tone Loc, Marcus Houston, and the great Nell Carter. The plot was based on Robin Harris's stand-up comedy and featured you as the love interest, Jamaica. You have a lot of iconic lines. Apparently, this was your first voiceover animation role, and sadly, Robin Harris died during production. Did you get to know Robin at all? And have you shared his legacy with your children by showing them what I consider like...
Right now, because you know, let me just tell you the story.
Yeah.
Try to do this quickly. We own a facility here in LA, Leimert Park. My father-in-law did. I wasn't married to my husband yet. He owns this whole block, but part of the block is a rental facility, an event space called the Regency West. A guy by the name of Michael Williams used to rent that from my father-in-law on Thursday nights, and he created the Comedy Act Theater. The Comedy Act Theater was because all the Black comedians could not get into the improv and all those, so they came down. Within a year, it was the hot spot in LA. That's where Jamie Foxx, D.L. Hughley, Eddie Murphy, Townsend, all of them used to come down there. A lot of those guys got their shows. Martin Lawrence got a show out of there. Jamie Foxx got a show out of there. The line would be down the street with what we call the suits. All the white people from the studios and from the networks and the agencies would come to see these people. Robin Harris was the MC. He blew that place up. People would come just to see him MC, and all these comedians would come on, and it was a huge hit for years. That's where I met my husband, Dr. Tony Calloway, because that was his father's establishment. I spoke to my father-in-law for a whole year, standing by the bar, watching the show, drinking a glass of wine. He nodded me, I nodded him. I had no idea that this man was going to be my father-in-law in the future. Long story short, I'm a regular there. I know Robin Harris. I meet my husband, we get married, everybody knows us. Robin Harris would tell me all the time, hey, Vanessa, we're going to do a movie called Bebe's Kids, and I want you to be Jamaica. And I would go, okay, Robin, because, people say that and they don't really mean it or whatever. He said this countless times. He did not die during production. He died before production. He died way before that movie was even shot, because he died right when I don't know right when, but they were trying to do a live movie of Bebe's Kids. He dies. Now it comes out the breakdown for Bebe's Kids, the animated one. The Hudlin brothers are producing it. Bruce is directing it. Like everybody else, I go in for the audition. They have no idea that not only have I known Robin for the last several years, but for the last several years, he has told me he wants me to be Jamaica. This is another one of those full circles. I get the job. I said, oh my God, Robin, you were serious. You really wanted me to be Jamaica. That's the story.
That's so cool.
It's incredible.
What a cool, like, the father-in-law part, but then also Robin. Two things are very...
my father-in-law for a whole year.
Drinking your white wine, watching the comments.
I was on red at that time. But drinking and he nodded and I nodded. And then when I saw my husband, because my husband was doing a rotation, he's an anesthesiologist, and he was here doing a rotation. And I was like, who is that? And then a mutual friend of ours introduced us. Long story short, we eventually went out. And of course, we got married. So the man at the bar became my boyfriend's father, and then my fiance's father, and then my father-in-law. But cool. I knew Robin Harris for years before he died.
So does that movie hold like a special place in your family's heart? Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's just like, he really meant it. Yeah. He really wanted me to be Jamaica. And even in his death, he made sure I got the part. I'm convinced of it.
I love it.
That's incredible.
Vanessa Bell Calloway, thank you so much. This has been such an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it myself. Thank you.
One of my favorite things in recent memories is me going off about Bebe's Kids and like this really, really, really long intro at the end of the interview. Me being so excited to talk to her about Bebe's Kids. She said, let me interrupt you. Let me just tell you the story, because I do have a story. And, I was like, maybe I just got too in my own head excited about Bebe's Kids. But she was like, I got it. I got you. Please, let me just tell you the story. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a seat and listen. And then it turned out to be this fucking incredible story about Robin Harris and his stand-up.
And husband. It was just all like a cool, like clearly Bebe's Kids was and is an important project to her because of what it brought to her. I'm not even sure if professionally was the important part of like the way it brought her like like personal life together, but it was very cool. Also, just like I loved when she mentioned like just in passing was it El Bravo?
Yes.
And you were like, well, actually, and you're like, I found this review. And I just loved, okay, I think there's something like so electric about, and I'm sure that there's a lot of theater projects like this for different reasons for different people. Like I'm sure people think of like Hamilton this way. I would argue that I and maybe Anne feel this way about like the Rocky Horror Revival.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's like something very historic and special about like being a part of the original Broadway company of Dreamgirls, because it is such an iconic property. It's only been on Broadway once to date, although it is coming back now to Broadway, allegedly, finally.
Yeah.
But the fact that Vanessa Bell Calloway was a cast member in it, and like I did not know that going into the research for her. I was like, oh, she was in like she did it somewhere, and then I was like, oh, she was in Broadway, and then she's a replacement, and I was like, no, wait, she's an original. Oh, she's a stepsister, and I was like, oh my god, and I just think that like what a cool who's who of like Black Broadway, Black Hollywood, just like Hollywood and Broadway in general, to be a member of the original company of Michael Bennett's Dreamgirls and get to work with Cheryl Lee Ralph and Loretta Devine and Jennifer Holliday and like Hinton Battle. And I'm sure I'm forgetting so many other people. I was obsessed with that.
Yeah. And just the chills of her talking about being in that rehearsal and finally hearing Jennifer Holliday sing the song. Ooh. God, I mean, Vanessa Bell delivered on so many levels that I didn't know we were going to get. And it's the pleasure of this podcast. And I feel like you got to hear me be my dorkiest self. And I feel like sometimes that's what the project requires. It's like exciting to talk to actors who you admire about work that is meaningful to you. And Bebe's kiss was important to me as a young person, and I wanted to get that across. So it just goes to show that 7 years in, we still get very excited about these interviews, and we hope that you dive into Vanessa Bell Calloway's work because she's done such good work for so many years, and I just can't wait to see what she gets to do in the next chapter. So we love Vanessa Bell Calloway, and we love you.
Folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We appreciate it. You Might Know Her From is produced by Duck You Dragon. That's us, Ann Rodeman and Damian Bellino. Thank you so much for listening. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to continue to support us, if you want us to continue to do this thing, you can support us on the Patreon. You can also follow us on social media at You Might Know Her From, because that is the best way to keep going, babe.
Special thanks, as always, to Gang. Every piece of music that you hear on each and every episode of You Might Know Her From is courtesy of Gang. We love Gang. They're from Philadelphia. They're 3/4 women.
Do you want to see that New York Times review about Vanessa Bell Calloway in El Bravo? Then you can check out the show notes. My dearest Ann Rodeman spends endless hours cataloging each and everything we discuss in each and every episode so that it is easily accessible for you and for us at a later date. So you can scroll through there to find the best of clips and our clippings and all of the things. Oh my gosh, I don't think I told you this, but like a couple weeks ago, this is so crazy. I was walking Ronnie, and it was soon after like a huge snowstorm, and it was the longest we had walked probably in like a week, because we had been taking very short walks because of the snow and ice. But it was like a little warmer and she was not turning around, and so I was like, well, like let me get her some more exercise than she's been typically getting outside of the home. So we're walking, and then at a certain point she like does that thing that some dogs do, including her, of like tripoding, where she's like lifting her back leg. And I usually know that like that's time for us to like go back, like if it gets there, but like she likes to play in it, and I feel bad. Like I want her to play, but also she's getting old and she has paw erosion already. Yeah. Anyway, and she like won't wear shoes, but then she started doing it with her front paw too. So then she was like wobbling, and I was like, okay, we have to figure this out. So I like pick her up, but she's like 68 pounds. So I pick her up and I'm walking her from like 116th Street, like in the snow, in my snow boots, like walking, and she's wagging. She's like
so happy.
She loves like being close, and she loves being picked up. So she's wagging, and then like some woman is like yelling, and I turn around and she's like, "You dropped your phone." So then I have to go back with Ronnie to get my fucking phone.
Did you put her down to get your phone?
Well, I walked till we got to the woman, then I picked up my phone and I put her down, and then we had to like stop and start. We had to like walk like a block, stop. Maybe she would walk a little, then I'd pick her back up. And it was a whole thing. But I was like, wow, what a day.
She was so happy.
It was like, what a day. It was like 8:30. And I was like, well, the day is already
it's over.
The
It's done.
The day already has a story.